Today, we're digging into the latest earnings report from IDEXX Laboratories, a huge player in the pet healthcare space. And what's so interesting is this. There's a real paradox hiding in their numbers. Their profits are shooting up, but fewer pets are actually going to the vet. So if you're not in the loop, IDEXX is the company that makes all the high-tech diagnostic gear and software that basically power thousands of vet clinics all over the world. They just dropped their Q4 2025 financial results, and man, the story these numbers tell, it says a lot about where the whole industry is going. Right. So that's the big question, isn't it? How can a company that serves vet clinics be doing so well when those same clinics are seeing fewer and fewer furry patients walk through the door? Let's dive in and unpack this, starting with the good news, the big headline success. Okay, so first things first, let's look at the report card. IDEXX finished 2025 with a super strong fourth quarter, and they absolutely crushed what the market was expecting. Check out this number, $1.09 billion in Q4 revenue. I mean, that's a 14% jump from the same time last year. That is some serious growth on the top line. And it's not just that they grew. They blew past what everyone thought they'd do. Wall Street was banking on $1.07 billion, but IDEXX came in over $18 million higher. That's what you call a solid beat. Okay, but revenue is only half the story, right? You've got to look at profitability. And that brings us to their earnings per share, or EPS. They came in at $3.08 per share. And guess what? It's the exact same story on the bottom line. The experts were guessing $2.93, but they beat that too. That's a 17% increase from the year before. I mean, look, whichever way you slice it, this was a fantastic quarter for them financially. Okay, so everything looks great, right? Billions in revenue, profits are up. Well, this is where the plot thickens. Because while the spreadsheets look amazing, the reality on the ground in vet clinics tells a very different story. And here it is. This number is the core of the whole paradox. In that same blockbuster quarter, same-store clinical visits for pets in the US, get this, they actually went down by 1.7%. Fewer checkups, fewer appointments. So if you dig into that number, you see something really interesting. The drop is almost entirely from those routine wellness visits, the annual checkup, which plunged 3.6%. It really looks like people are feeling the pinch, and they're putting off that preventative care to save some money. Now, sick patient visits, those held steady, because when your pet is clearly sick, you find a way to get them to the doctor. So that brings us back to the big question. If fewer pets are walking through the clinic doors, how on earth did IDEXX have such a blowout quarter? Well, the answer is all about their strategy. It's about innovation, and it's about fundamentally changing the value of every single visit. And the company's own CEO, Jay Mazowski, basically said it all. He called 2025 a defining year for them, not because the market was great, but because of the game-changing new tech they managed to roll out. See, their whole game plan is to squeeze more value out of every single appointment that does happen. They're doing it with awesome new tools like the InView DX for instant cell analysis, a revolutionary new blood test for early cancer detection, and even just by adding more and more tests to their super popular Catalyst platform. And on top of all that, their software is actually helping clinics run more efficiently. Okay, let's just zero in on one of these, because it really tells the whole story. I'm talking about the IDEXX Cancer DX test. Now listen to this quote from their earnings call. This is just, wow. We're not talking about a test for a pet that's already sick. No. This is a screening tool. They can spot signs of lymphoma up to 8 months before a pet even seems sick. Think about that. That's a total game changer for preventative care. And boom, just like that, you've created a whole new market, a whole new reason to run a test. The company thinks this opens up a chance for about 130,000 monitoring tests every year in North America alone, just for canine lymphoma. That's how you do it. That's how you grow your business when the overall market is flat. But look, it's not just about inventing cool new gadgets. That's only part of the puzzle. It's also about getting those tools into more clinics and making them a core part of the everyday routine. So they're kind of tackling this from two sides. On one hand, they're beefing up their sales teams in key markets around the world to get this stuff sold. And on the other hand, their software tools like Velo are actually designed to help the clinics themselves fight that decline by getting owners back in the door and making sure they stick to the treatment plans. All right, so after all that, what does the road ahead look like?
Let's check out what the company themselves are forecasting for the coming year.
Okay, so this is their official guidance for 2026. You see strong revenue, great earnings growth, but then look at that very last line. Their entire plan is built on the idea that U.S. clinic visits will continue to go down by about 2%. They're not waiting for the market to save them. They are planning to create their own growth, plain and simple. And really, that's the whole story right there. That's the big takeaway. IDEXX is basically making a bet that they can decouple their success from how many pets walk through the door. They're betting that by giving vets more powerful tools, they can grow by making every single visit more valuable and more diagnostically intense. It's a fundamental shift in the business of pet care. Which really leaves us with this huge question, not just for IDEXX, but for the entire industry. As this tech gets smarter and smarter, are we heading for a future where pet healthcare is defined less by how many times you go to the vet and way more by the richness of the data we can get from each and every interaction? It's a massive shift to think about, and IDEXX is betting its future that the answer is a resounding yes.